What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest and newest edition of the Total Sports Ozone. I am the big O with the big mouth, Oscar, coming at you again with my daily rant and rave about the things going on in the world of sports today, particularly the NFL, college football, pennant races heating up in the Major League Baseball. We're going to get into that. That's going to be one of my main topics today. And again, if you like what I'm talking about, or if you don't like what I'm talking about, hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. I'll read them all, and I'll let you know if I agree with you or if I don't. That's just how I roll in the ozone. Today, we're going to talk about NFL. We got two teams that pretty much everybody can agree with that are far and away ahead of everybody else in the National Football League after 3 weeks. In the AFC, the Buffalo Bills, no doubt, 3-0, dominating teams. Point differential plus 31. So that means they're dominating. Yeah, a little bit of a struggle beating the Ravens in week 1, but ever since then, it's been all Buffalo. My question, posing out to you, posing to myself, which team in the AFC is the biggest threat right now to the Buffalo Bills? Tough question. One could say it could be the Ravens, but they choked against the Bills. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. The Ravens can beat pretty much anybody except the Bills and the Chiefs. And they play the Chiefs this weekend in Kansas City. I want to say the Ravens are a legitimate threat, but you got to prove it. You had a chance to prove it in week 1. You had a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter. 5 minutes left. And you blew it. You choked. So can I consider the Ravens a big threat, the biggest threat to the Buffalo Bills? Not until they get that defense straightened out. Period. Offensively, they can score with anybody. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Trey Flowers, Andrews. They can score with anybody. There's no doubt about that. There are times in games where they look flat out unstoppable. But where's the defense? What's the sense of scoring 30 if you give up 38? What's the sense of scoring 35 when you give up 40? The defense got to get straightened out. And I haven't, and as much as I don't like the Ravens, I can't stand them. I call them like I said in my first show, I call it like I see it. And right now, I don't see the Ravens as a threat until they improve that defense. That defense got to come up. Missed tackles, leaving running backs running all over. Missed tackles, leaving receivers wide open in gaps. Just like they were afraid to play man against anybody. They just settled in zone, and you saw the other night. Detroit picked them apart, both running and throwing, because they wanted to settle in a zone, and it didn't work. It didn't work. So my question is the Ravens the biggest threat to the Buffalo Bills? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Offensively, A. I give them a solid A. Other than the fumble, I would give them an A plus, but Derrick Henry has fumbled each of the first 3 games. Once each in the first 3 games. 2 of those fumbles led to them getting beat. Derrick Henry got to straighten out this case of the yips he's been suddenly having. If the Ravens are going to go where they need to go. But offensively, I give them an A. No problem with the offense. The defense, D plus. D plus. The only reason why I haven't given them a F is because they play the Browns. Anybody defense could look good against the Browns offense. Let's just face it like that. Let's call it what it is. But the defense, if they want to get to where they want to go, and that's the Super Bowl, defense got to pick it up a notch. They letting teams score all over them. The Bills and then the Detroit Lions. They letting those teams score. They letting elite teams score all over them, and that's not the recipe for a team that's trying to make it to the Super Bowl. So, what about the Chiefs? Jury's still out on them. I mean, you can give them a mulligan because two of their top receivers are one suspended, the other one has been hurt. Will they look like the Chiefs that we have seen them to be the past 2 or 3 years when those receivers come back? Because Patrick Mahomes has looked pedestrian at best in his first 3 games. And it could be because of his receivers, but he's also been throwing a lot of errant passes. And Travis Kelce has dropped a couple of big passes in these first 3 games. Well, 1 and 2, I still believe the AFC runs through Kansas City. I still believe that because they are the team to beat in the AFC until somebody beats them. Now Buffalo's well on their way, but they've had problems against the Chiefs. We know that. We've seen it. So, but the Chiefs, once they start getting healthy and getting their pieces back, they got all the pieces. They got the pieces. But if they really want to send a message to everybody else in the AFC, they would. If I was them, I'd go all out to get Tyreek Hill back. You know he's not happy in Miami. Miami's not going nowhere. You can see it in his face in the games Miami's been playing. You can see it in his face. He's not happy in Miami. So if I was the Chiefs, why not bring him back? Yeah, he got some baggage. Who cares? Who cares? It ain't about that. I think they can handle the baggage. But what he would bring to the Chiefs, will bring back to the Chiefs, he can get open. I mean, he made Patrick Mahomes look like the second coming of Tom Brady for a few years. All because he's fast and he knows how to get open. So if I was the Chiefs, I'd make a run to get him. Trade whoever you want to need. Do whatever you need to do to bring Tyreek Hill back to Kansas City. If they did that, I would put them as the biggest threat to the Buffalo Bills. I really would. If they brought him back. Right now, I don't know. I mean, yeah, they wanted to, but I still believe they're going to work it out. They're the Chiefs. Andy Reid, he knows what he's doing. But if they really want to work it out, go get Tyreek Hill. Go get him. Bring him back. Why not? Take a chance. I would. How about the Chargers? Undefeated. 3-0. They beat the Chiefs. Straight up. Last 2 games they won close. They've been close, but they won them. They found ways to win them. Are they the biggest threat to the Buffalo Bills? I mean, Justin Herbert is dealing. He's taking that next step. But the defense is solid, but it ain't spectacular. They can be burnt from time to time. And let's face it, Josh Allen is the truth. He is the reason why he's the reigning NFL MVP. Can they stop him? Do the Chargers have enough defense to stop Josh Allen? Especially if they had to play Buffalo in the playoff game, divisional playoff game, or the AFC Championship game in Orchard Park in January, right in the dead of winter. Do they have that? Do they have that type of team to be able to pull off a victory in the playoffs in Orchard Park in January? It's the question you have to ask yourself. I mean, this is Los Angeles Chargers, used to playing indoors. Can they go up there in the wintertime and pull out a victory? Conventional wisdom leads me to believe they can. I really believe they can. Oh, they'll say, oh, warm weather teams, they have problems playing up north in the wintertime in the playoffs. Rah, rah. I believe this team can pull it off. If there's any other teams that I think can pull it off, I think it's the Chargers. Why? They've been in close games. And they've won close games. They're learning. And they're learning getting good on the job training on how to win close games. I said it yesterday. Learning how to win close games will only help you down the line, especially in the playoffs. You know, every possession, every play is important, is vital. The one thing the Chargers don't do a lot of, turn the ball over. They don't do a lot of that. And in the wintertime, when it get cold and teams start to run the ball more, especially the North teams playing outdoors, when they like to run the ball more, taking care of the ball becomes also important. It's always important to take care of the ball. Because even the greatest teams, even the elite of the elite, can be beat if they don't take care of that ball. Period. The Chargers don't turn the ball over too much. That will also serve them well. The defense, it ain't the greatest. But is it enough to hold off the Bills? I don't know. Maybe. Probably be different if they had Joey Bosa back, but they don't. But I don't know. Maybe they get Khalil Mack back if he can come back. But that might help. Might make the difference with their defense being able to hold off of Josh Allen. Don't know. But right now, well, we got one more team. The Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, the Indianapolis Colts. They're 3-0. Who knew, right? Who knew they'd be 3-0? I guess they did. Daniel Jones. This is like a resurrection project for him. But he's been balling. Think about it. The Colts have only punted once in 3 games. Once! That's unheard of. That is practically unheard of. I've never seen that. And I've been watching the NFL since I was 8 years old. And I ain't never heard of that stat. That the Colts have only punted once. That means you're dealing on offense. That means you're dealing. And they are. They're dealing. But the thing is, you ain't really played nobody. That's why I can't say, the Colts are a big threat. Nah, I can't say that yet. You haven't played nobody. You played the Dolphins, who stink. You played the Titans, who stink. And you played a mediocre Denver team. And it took, what? A penalty on the kick that you missed to win the game. It took a defensive penalty for you to get another chance to kick the game winning field goal, and this time he didn't miss. So it was basically divine intervention is why the Colts are 3-0. They should be 2-1. But divine intervention and I think a very controversial call is why the Colts are right sitting pretty at 3-0, but they haven't really played anybody of significance. So I can't say, oh, they're the biggest threat. No, I can't. They're winning, but I'm not sold on them yet. Play somebody of significance. Your division's weak. Your division's weak, so I can't say, oh, you run it. You can run the table in the division. Right now, it's weak. It is weak. Let's just face it. Probably the weakest division in the league. Maybe. That or the NFC South, one of those two, take your pick, flip a coin. Yes, the Colts, 3-0, yes. You ain't played nobody yet. I don't think so. You haven't played anybody yet. So I can't anoint them as the biggest threat to the Buffalo Bills. Are there any 2-1 teams out there? No, not really. Not this early in the season. Pittsburgh, the Bengals, nah. Pittsburgh has all kind of problems on defense, if you would believe that. They have all kind of problems on defense, and their offense is up and down like a roller coaster at Six Flags. So I can't anoint them as the biggest threat. And the Bengals, you ain't got Joe Burrow. Period. In the discussion. Joe Burrow's out, you ain't got a chance. Yes, you got T. Higgins. Yes, you got Jamal Chase. Yes, you got that Henderson, whatever his name, Frederickson Henderson, on the line, on the defensive line. You still ain't got a chance. Joe Burrow hurt, out for 3 months minimum. You ain't got a chance. There's no way. No Burrow, forget it. Forget it. You see what happened to them in Minnesota. Got destroyed. So, you can forget that. So, right now, my opinion, I ain't going to call it expert, but it's my opinion. As a fan, right now, the biggest threat to the Buffalo Bills in the AFC, I will have to go still with the Chiefs. I know they're 1-2, but when they get their players back, when they get their weapons back, you'll see they'll be a hell of a lot better. And if they manage to get Tyreek Hill back in a Chiefs uniform, forget it. Ain't nobody touching the Chiefs. I'm sorry. Ain't nobody touching them. It's going to be like we're going to be going into fan fatigue. Here we go again. Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. And when is this going to stop? Till somebody beats them. Plain and simple. Now, let's flip it over to the NFC. The Eagles, number one. The Eagles are number one. The defending Super Bowl champions. And they're looking every little bit of the part of trying to repeat. Who's the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC? We got several teams. So one would say the Detroit Lions. The way they've looked the last 2 weeks, I wouldn't argue with that. They got weapons all over on offense. Jared Goff, Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Montgomery, Williams. They got Laporta. They got all kinds of weapons on offense. It's like pick your poison. It is literally like pick your poison. And people were concerned that when Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, left, that they couldn't keep that train rolling. And the first game of the season, it didn't look like they could keep that train rolling. Oh, they greased up the wheels, put a little bit more coal in the locomotive, and now that train is running real well. 52 points laid on the Bears, and they just beat the Ravens in Baltimore, laying 38 points on them. How can you not say it's the Detroit Lions? They got, like I said, they got weapons all over there on that offense. It's like pick your poison. It's like, how do you want to lose today? How do you want us to score on you now? Do you want us to run the ball down your throat? Do you want us to pass it all over the place? How do you want us to beat you? I bet you they literally be asking the other team, how do you want to lose today? How do you want to lose? You want to run? You want us to run it down your throat? You want us to pass it all over your head? How do you want to lose? And who's stopping them? Yeah, they in Green Bay. We'll get to Green Bay in a second. But right now, I believe it's the Detroit Lions. They got the offense and just enough defense to be able to take the Eagles out, whether it be in Philadelphia or in Detroit. Yeah, now they say, oh, they won all these games last year. They spit the bit in the first round at home. That was last year. I'm pretty sure they learned their lessons from all that, from the way last year ended. If Dan Campbell is any bit of the head coach he's shown himself to be, they would have learned their lessons from what happened to them in the last season, in the playoffs. And they're coming at you. They're going to be coming at you. Barring major injuries, I don't see anybody stopping that team. That team can score in bunches. And they can pretty much score whenever they feel like it. They take care of the ball. I don't see a defense in the NFC that can stop them. I honestly believe that. But what about the LA Rams? Well, they just lost to the Eagles. They played. They lost a game they should have won, and they know it. Now, yeah, it took a block field goal attempt for the Eagles to beat them. But the thing is, you had a 26-7 lead early in the second half in that game. What happened? Defense. That's all it is. They let their foot off the gas on defense. You can't do that against the defending Super Bowl champions, especially in their house. With them loud, crazy fans. You got to keep your foot on their neck and twist. And twist hard and often. The Eagles are not trying to give up their championship. And if they are trying, you can't tell. You can't tell. The Rams, I believe they can beat them, but they got to learn how to finish. Against top teams, you got to learn how to finish the game. You know, games ain't won in the first and second quarter. They won in the fourth quarter. Ask the Eagles. That's when they won that game, the fourth quarter. And the Rams got to learn. You got to play against top teams like the Eagles. You got to play all 60 minutes. You got to play to the last gun sound. You don't take your foot off the gas anytime against the defending Super Bowl champions. How about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Well, let's put it like this. They're 3-0, yeah. But are they really a threat? Let me throw this at you. They're 3-0, and they've won all three of their games by a combined 6 points. 6 points. They won by 3 in Atlanta. They won by 1 in Houston, and they won by 2 points Sunday. All three wins by a total of 6 points. That's 1 touchdown. Can I really say they're a threat to the Eagles? They playing the Eagles this weekend at home. That would go a long way to determining, are they for real? Are the Bucs for real this year? Right now, I can't anoint them as the favorite, the top of the Eagles. I got to see how they play against them first. Do I think they have the moxie to beat them? Yep, especially at home. But they've been winning, let's face it, they've been winning by straight up luck. All their games have come down to either the next to last play or the very last play, right at the end of the game. Let's just face it. Let's just call it like it is. They've probably been the luckiest team in the league so far. 3 wins, all by less than 3 points each. I don't know if they're drinking something good in the water, or taking their vitamins, or saying their prayers, whatever. They've been the luckiest team in the league so far. But are they for real? Are the Bucks the real deal? We're going to find out this weekend. Now they're playing the best. And the old age line, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And this is their chance, at least in the regular season, to try to beat the best. But right now, as I see it, the team that has the biggest threat to the Eagles would be the Detroit Lions. I believe they can beat the Eagles, either in their house or in Detroit. They got like I said, they got weapons galore on offense. It's like a pick your poison. That's who I believe in the NFC is the biggest threat to the Eagles. What do you think? Leave me a comment. Like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Who do you think is the biggest threat to the Bills and the AFC and the Eagles and the NFC? I'd love to see your comments. Now, let's switch it up a little bit. Major League Baseball. We're in the last week. Do you believe that? It's the last week of the regular season. Season ends Sunday. And man, the pennant race is heating up. Look what Cleveland's doing. The Guardians. I still call them Indians. I don't care what any of y'all say. I'm from Northeast Ohio, and all my life, they were the Indians. The tribe, if you would. I still call them the Indians every now and then. But we're going to be PC on this show. Even though this is my show, we're going to keep it PC. And we're going to call them the Guardians or the Guards. Either way, have y'all noticed what they've done? Let me give you a little bit. Let me paint the picture. Back in July, I believe it's 8th and 9th, they were 40-48. And they were 15 and a half games behind the Detroit Tigers in the AL Central. Everybody thought they were done. I thought they were done. And I'm sure every Cleveland fan, you can lie if you want to, but you thought they were done. And I was like, well, they ain't hitting. The pitching staff was a mess. They have no closer. I thought they had no closer because Emmanuel Closet got the boot, suspended or what have you. So I thought, well, maybe they just ride the season out and reset and try again next year. Next year came a little early. Or at least it ain't came yet. 15 and a half games out in July. In September, earlier this month, there were still 11 games out of first place. There were 2 games under 500. Or 1 or 2 games. I think there were 68 and 70. 11 games out of first. Do you know, as of this morning, the Guardians have tied the Tigers at the top of the AL Central. And because the Guardians own the head-to-head tiebreaker, because they won the season series, they're technically in first place. Nobody could have predicted this. Nobody could have saw this coming. The Guardians have the worst batting average in baseball, around 228, 227. Worst in baseball. Yet here they are, sitting atop the AL Central and looking like they could complete the biggest regular season division comeback ever. Ever. They were 15 and a half games back. Everybody was saying Detroit's going to run away and hide. Now, I don't know what happened. I think it's because of the pitching. The starting pitching and the bullpen has been off the charts. And they're getting just enough hits, especially clutch hits with 2 outs. They're getting just enough clutch hitting to pull off these wins. Like last night, in the 6th, they were down 2-0 with the Tigers. Ace Scooble on the mound. Do you know they scored 3 runs in that inning to take the lead without one ball being hit out of the infield? They call it guards ball. I call it fundamentals. I call it hustle. I call it never giving up. It's amazing. And they pull this off and win the division. Biggest comeback ever. And nobody could predict that they saw this coming. I know I didn't. But that's not the only race. There's a lot of good ones. The AL East. Toronto had a 6-7 game lead at one point. They're just hanging on now by a thread. They only 1 game up on the Yankees. And the Yankees just qualified for a playoff berth last night. So they're coming on. They're coming on. Yankees ain't going nowhere. And with their hitting, and they can bash the ball all over the place. Hey, Toronto better do what they need to do. They need to do what they need to do. The Mariners, they caught and passed the Houston Astros. Swept them over the weekend down in Houston. Now, Seattle needs one more win to capture the AL West. Did you see this coming? I didn't. I did not see this coming. I thought Houston was going to run away with the division, especially after they took care of the Rangers a couple weeks ago. I thought, okay, that's it. Houston done wrap this up. No, they didn't. And now and Houston's in real serious trouble. Because not only are they on the verge of losing the AL West, they may not make it to the playoffs, period. They're 1 game behind Detroit for the 3rd wild card spot. And here's my thinking. The way Houston's been sliding and the way Detroit's been sliding, I don't know. Everybody else is eliminated. So it's all going to be about who gets what. One of these 2 teams, Detroit or Houston, is going to be singing the boo-hoos. Teams that were leading their division were thinking they would run away and hide with it. One of these 2 teams are going to be going home singing the boo-hoos, singing the blues, because one of them going to have to be eliminated. One of them is going to have to be eliminated. Especially if Boston wins 1 more game. If Boston is 1 or 2 going games, they have a playoff spot. So Detroit, Houston, one of those 2 teams might go home with the boo-hoos. And if Detroit is the one that is eliminated from the playoffs, what do you say about that? It's got to be the biggest monumental collapse of a regular season ever. Ever. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the Detroit media and the fans are going to ask themselves, what the hell happened? What in the blue hell happened? I have no idea. There's no way to pinpoint this. What happened? I just personally think they ran into a buzzsaw in Cleveland. And then Detroit stopped hitting. They just stopped hitting. But I don't really know. But you can't explain it. There's no real rationale on blowing a 15.5 game lead in 3 months. There's no rationale. There's no rationale blowing an 11-game lead in 3 weeks. How do you do that? An 11-game lead in 3 weeks. This division should have been wrapped up last week by Detroit. This division should have been done, gone, theirs. Wearing the hats, drinking the champagne, pouring it all over each other. That should have happened last week. But here they are. Dodgers might not get a playoff spot. Can't explain it. I wish I could. I can't explain it. I don't know where the hell that happened. But Detroit, they better get their head out of their ass, and they better get it out quick. Or they won't, like I said, they might be going home this season singing the blues. And I'm pretty sure somebody's going to answer for that. Somebody's going to have to answer for that kind of a collapse. Maybe the manager, maybe the general manager, maybe some players might need to get rid of. Who knows? But if they blow this, and it looks like they're going to blow this, because now you're chasing Cleveland. You can't be tied with Cleveland now, because you lost the season series. If you're Detroit, you can't finish tied with them. You got to be ahead of them. And Cleveland got Detroit 2 more times, today, tomorrow, and then they got a weekend series to end the season against the Rangers, who've already been eliminated. So they have nothing to play for. Detroit is in trouble. And everybody know it. And like I said, they blow this, they're going to have a lot of questions they ain't going to want to answer. They ain't going to have to answer. But they're going to have to answer it. Because nobody has ever blown that large a lead ever to win the division. Nobody has done it. We'll see what happens. Let's look at the National League. Well, National League looks like things a little bit more clear in the National League. Milwaukee, the only thing they're chasing is trying to get the top seed. And they need one more win to get that. A win or a Phillies loss. If they win one more game or Philly loses one more game, Milwaukee, the baseball playoffs will go through Milwaukee. They will have home field throughout the NL playoffs. I've never seen Milwaukee have that. But I don't trust Milwaukee. They've had good teams over the last few years, but they've always against the playoffs. Last year against the Mets. Yes, the Heimlich maneuver was needed. Yes. Can they right that wrong this year? Who knows? They look good. They look real good. I've seen them play a couple of games. They look real good, especially at home. So them having home field throughout the playoffs, I think that will serve them well. But they got to get rid of pinch it for choking in the playoffs. They've done that a couple of times. It's time for them to right that wrong and keep the train rolling. But it looks like Milwaukee is going to get home field throughout the playoffs. But there's another hot race in the West. The Dodgers are only up a game and a half over the Padres. What happened? Another team had a large lead, but they faded. Why? What happened? Did they stop hitting? No. Pitching sucks. Over the past 3 weeks, their pitching has been abominable. Not the starting pitching. The starting pitching has been all right, but their bullpen stinks. I know it. Remember seeing the game where Ohtani had a 5-0 lead. He went out and he instantly blew that game. Lost 9-6 to the Phillies. He went out in the 6th, and Philly said, "Thank you." Ended up scoring 9 runs the next 3 innings to win the game. Their bullpen stinks. I don't know if it's overworked. I don't know if it's taxed or academical, but they better get that bullpen straightened out, or their chances of repeating as World Series champions slim to none. You can't score 5 runs when you give up 6, especially in the late innings. They got to get that bullpen situation straightened out. And they need to see if they can hold off these Padres. Padres have earned their playoff spot. But now I think they worry about trying to get that division so they can get at least the 3 seed. At least get the 3 seed and get home field for the first round of the playoffs. So Dodgers, but looking over there, I bet you they're looking over their shoulder this morning. I was like, oh boy, here come them fools down I-5. Yep, the I-5 fools are coming. You better be careful, Los Angeles. They coming. What about the wild card? Cincinnati is trying to get a playoff spot. I think they're 1 game behind. Let me check the standings. I think they're 1 game behind. Yes. They are a game behind the New York Mets for the 3rd wild card spot. Tito Francona. He'll never let you quit. He was like that in Cleveland. He's doing that in Cincinnati. He never lets the team quit. I didn't think Cincinnati was going to do anything this year. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't. But here they are, 1 game back of the last wild card spot in the National League. Now, it would be crazy. The 2 Ohio baseball teams, who I don't think anybody thought would even sniff the playoffs, come mid around the All-Star break. Wouldn't it be crazy if both Ohio teams made it to the playoffs? That would be crazy. I'm trying to wonder when the last time that ever happened. That both Ohio teams made the playoffs at the same time. I would love to know when that happened. I'm gonna ask. I need to know because that would be crazy for the state of Ohio, which is football crazy this time of year. But both the Reds and the Guardians making the playoffs at the same time? Wow. That's big time right there. That's a tribute to the state of Ohio and how they don't never give up. You work for what you want. And you got to work hard for it. And these 2 teams, they don't even give up. You have to give it to them. No matter what you think about them, whether you like them or not, you have to give it up. They work hard. They work hard. They never quit. They just keep going. They never quit. You gotta admire the hustle, the heart. I mean, these 2 teams were pretty much left for dead middle of the season. And here they are, the Reds 1 game back of the 3rd wild card spot, and Cleveland leading the division. Coming back from 15 out. You got to love that. That you got to at least admire and respect that. Because who saw it coming? Like, what? That's the tribute to how hard working that state is. They don't quit. They don't quit at all. But let me see. When was the last time both Ohio baseball teams I'm typing funny. Let me see. I want to know. In the same season, when has that ever happened? I don't think so. I've never seen it. Because most of my life growing up, the Guardians or Indians were sorry. But the last time both teams made the playoffs was in the COVID year, 2020. So it hasn't happened often. Yeah, it hasn't happened often. But the last time it happened, where both Ohio baseball teams made it to the playoffs, was in the COVID year, 2020. So it has happened in recent years, but it seemed unlikely halfway through this year. It seemed highly unlikely that both the teams would make it. I didn't see it coming. I was like everybody else. Well, they ain't gonna do nothing. But they're only one game back, the Cincinnati Reds. Can they pull it off? I don't know. The Cubs are in. The Padres are in. The Mets and the Reds are, and the Diamondbacks. They're all fighting for that last wild card in the MLB. That's pretty much the pennant race in the National League. So you got Philly and Milwaukee trying to see who gets the number one seed, best record in the National League. You got the Dodgers and Padres trying to finding out to see who can win the West. Right now, the Dodgers have a 1.5 game lead. And then you got a 3-team race for that third wild card spot in the NL playoffs. Woo. And everybody got around 4 or 5 games left. So this could actually come down to the last day of the season, Sunday. That's why I like baseball this time of year. Them pennant races, you gotta love them. You gotta love them, especially if one of your teams is in that pennant race. Now I know for the teams that have been eliminated and they're just playing out the string, and then the season's over, and then probably somebody going to get fired Monday or Tuesday. It always happens. But for the teams that are in these pennant races, their fans got to be excited and a little bit biting their nails. Like nightly. Right now, every game for these teams, every game is a playoff game. You can't afford to lose a game. One game, one loss could knock you out because you might not be able to recover from that one loss. And we got 5 games remaining. That's the fun part. 5 games. Everybody's down to 5 or less. 4 or 5. And then it's on. And for those games, that's the fun about baseball. People forget about that. Because it's a long season, a lot of games and la-da-da. But when it comes down to the last couple of weeks, and there's a lot of independent races have heated up, and teams are teetering on the brink of making the playoffs or being eliminated, that's the fun part. Because you got to watch the scoreboard every day until the end of the season. All these teams, I know they're scoreboard watching. They got to. They got to see where they're at. But the thing is, you can do that after you take care of business. That's what you need to do. So every game from here on out, for the Reds, for the Diamondbacks, for the Mets, the Guardians, the Tigers, the Astros, every game, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, all those teams, Red Sox too, every game from here on out is a playoff game. It's like a playoff game. It's like you gotta look at it as like win or go home. And that's the fun part about the playoffs. About the fun part about pennant races. A lot of people poo-pooed them extending the wild card from 1 to 3 spots. A lot of people poo-pooed. But it has given a lot of teams a lot more hope. Every year, these teams get a lot of hope they can make the playoffs. And then you make the playoffs, who knows what you're going to do. You might get hot. Or you might slump. Who knows? But all I know is it's fun to follow. I absolutely love the pennant races. That's when I get into it the most. Because I don't need to see who's going to be in, especially the Guardians, who are my team. I didn't see this coming. And this is so exciting and so welcome and so unexpected. It is so unexpected that they made this out of the world run to catch the Tigers after being behind by 15 and one half games. How do you explain it? You can't explain it. But it's fun to watch. Fun to watch. You need to check it out too. And if you got any comment on it, hit me up. Hit me up on the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, I'm going to get out of here early. Tomorrow, we're going to look at the biggest games in college football. We're going to preview, and there's some big ones. Got Alabama and Georgia. You got LSU and Ole Miss. You got Ohio State going out west to play Washington. And probably the big E of the game, the biggest game of the day, Oregon going to Penn State. Will James Franklin finally beat a top 10 team? We're going to preview that on tomorrow's show. All right? This is the Big O with the big mouth from the Total Sports Ozone. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.